and hello. Looks like we got two. Oh. There we go. There we go. Had an echo. Now I've got to fix that audio volume. There we go. Alright, we're going to stand by while we wait for a few more people to show up. Who do we have here right now? Comment section here. Mosquitoes inside here. It's not fun. I was hoping for a few more people to show up. Alright, so let's see. Looks like some comments. Hey, Pickin' with Pickle! And does nothing special. Hey, thanks guys for coming. How's your week been, Pickle? I know you did a quickie live stream from Dildo last week. We're talking about the location, by the way. Sorry, I'm scarfing down a little bit of dinner real quick. Alright. Well, we have all of two people in here right now, so we'll go ahead and see if I can't get a little bit of the party started. We got Pickle here. We got Does Nothing Special. Like I said, I know that Pickle did a really quick live Friday. This weekend was great. Dildo was great. Best bumper sticker ever. Dildo, just a little place until everybody came. That is quite a bumper sticker. I was just shooting some footage earlier on my phone, which has a really awesome camera on it, which is better than the camera I usually use to shoot my my normal day-to-day YouTube footage. But anyway, the footage I was shooting earlier was a mail call. I got, let's see, stickers from Landis Custom Classics, Cousin Mike, as some of us know him, and some stickers here from Bad Attitude C10. He also included some Wacky Willy fuel fragrance sticker and a same brand air freshener. And then, where is it at? Let's just say, don't tell me I've already lost it. Bad Attitude C10 t-shirt. That's going above and beyond just for trading stickers right there. So we appreciate him on that. Good as well. 1 week, 4 days till the big move. Very busy. Yeah, I can imagine. Does Nothing Special. Yeah, asking how Pickle's doing. And yes, good luck with that move. Is the music a little too loud, or do I need to turn it down some more? Oh, we got 4 people in here. I'll turn it down just a little bit. I could hear it quite a bit in my monitor. There we go. Is it better now, or do I need to go down a little bit more, Pickle? Or does nothing special? Sorry. So we got Pickle, we got Does Nothing Special, we got two other people hanging out in here. We don't know who they are yet. Was just announcing the stickers from Landon's Custom Classics. I'm muted out by it. Okay. Is that while I'm talking or between talking? Let's see if I can turn that all the way off. Yeah. There we go. Well, they had some of their music. I went on Epidemic Sound, where I get my music from, and was able to download that. They say either you're only allowed to use your music or music you're authorized to use. Well, I paid the membership over at Epidemic Sound way before I met Dan and I forget Dan's brother's name. The yep, the brothers. uh, oh, Mandy's in here. My brother's here. All right, so turn it down some more. Just turn it all the way off. I just wanted to have a little bit of something, especially when when I was waiting for people to jump in. Mandy and Matthew, y'all missed. I got some stickers from Bad Attitude C10 and Landon's Custom Classics. And Bad Attitude C10 even included the T-shirts, a T-shirt, and some other stickers from Wild Willie's Air. Actually, they do fuel scent for racing fuel, and even had an air freshener there. So, yes, yes, everybody needs to get stickers eventually when you can afford them. And as your channel grows, you find more themes and stuff that you can add stickers to. We all know 6%. He's got an X-ray of his foot, and some of the other I do my own stunts is with the X-ray of his foot. Yeah, once you get your move over with, get you a sticker with the flatty, the old flathead V8 or something, and then as soon as you get your project forward, get some stickers made up for that. Some renderings or something to get a sticker. I'm already on my second sticker. Looks like Landon's Customs Classics has ordered two different sizes, same as Bad Attitude C10. What's the other previous last week's mail call? I believe he shipped me two size stickers as well. So that seems to be a thing. You get a couple ideas in your head, and you maybe order some stickers from one place and then find a better place later that does a better sticker or might be a better price sticker. Yep. Man, it took me forever to get that first 100 subscribers. Mustache stickers. I was actually thinking of having some sort of caricature or something drawn to where we could do that as a sticker. So, and or a logo, because why not? I mean, it's kind of what makes me recognizable in a crowd. Planning to do stickers in maybe 2 to 3 months. Yes, it's always fun to hand out stickers. People believe that you have a YouTube channel a lot faster if you hand them a sticker that has your channel logo and stuff on it. So, even my first stickers had no QR code, and I found that with the handle I chose, that the QR code was more than necessary, because you want them to have a way to go straight to your channel as soon as you hand them that sticker, especially if they're interested in going to the channel. But my first sticker was just the Jack Stands and Cinder Blocks logo. Yes, Matthew, I do want to do the dual fuel corn liquor stickers. I also want to get a logo printed so I can stick it on a mason jar, and actually print a sticker, put it on the mason jar, take a picture of the mason jar, and then have that made up as a logo or a sticker. And that's just one of our imaginary sponsors for the channel. And the other one's the Maypop tires. We've come up with some other ones, but I just haven't thrown them in the banners here. I was under the impression that 6% was doing a live at 7 Eastern, which would be 6 Central tonight. And then, if he started his at 6, here it is 7:30 Central. His stream would be midway through at 7:30, or hopefully midway through, and that maybe he could jump over later. Went on his channel today and could not find a live, but maybe he's scheduling that for next week, where he's going to start Tuesdays and Wednesday live streams. So anyway, quit saying no. We got one more. Do have plans for that old V8 in the future. It's a flathead V8. Yes, his is usually tomorrow, 6%. But I could swear I saw an announcement saying he was going to do Tuesdays and Wednesdays now. But maybe that's starting next week. So I jumped on. I was normally here. I'm normally on at 7, so I was kicking around getting all the cameras hooked up. My laptop is also. Lately, it's been my video editing machine while I'm at work because it's portable. I can take it with me. But then when I do my live streams, I'd bring my laptop home for those. So I've been running it back and forth quite a bit lately, putting some wear and tear on it. And it's already kind of a worn-out laptop as it is. So it's fragile, and it needs its rest. So I brought out the old Alienware. Unfortunately, I locked it to where it can no longer do Microsoft updates, and I think I actually deleted the app. And I had added some sort of non-bloatware. Right. But I'd added some non-bloatware stuff to that computer, and that's locked me from re-downloading the installer for Microsoft Windows updates. And so I've got to figure out how to do that. I might just wind up, I think I finally found a way to reinstall Windows on there, and that should probably bypass that particular software. And, just trying to get that machine back up and running. But what I'm wanting to do is leave that machine at work and then put my video editing software on it. And that way I'm not running this laptop back and forth every time. Yeah, sometimes figuring out, I'm not a software channel. So, let me put this up there first. Matthew was saying I should, my imaginary sponsors should say things real sponsors wouldn't normally say. That is funny. That's where you can have fun with it and then use your imagination. As long as you're not pushing some of the community guideline boundaries, I think you can have fun with that. And that's kind of the whole idea we come up with the dual fuel corn liquor and stuff like that. Another one of those other ones up there. And that's where I've been able to actually find a way to add those into the banners down here at the bottom of the screen. Back to comments. Oh, I lost you guys on the comments. Yes, just shy of 2,000 subscribers. Is that correct? Yes. And, I've slowed down, quit jumping on as many live streams because I found I was on a live stream 6 or 7 nights a week and was not getting any work done in the garage, and getting closer and closer to the No Name Nationals. I want to at least be able to drive my truck there, and be there at the No Name Nationals with my buddies. And so it's going to come down to that last week or two. I'm going to be trying to do 6 or 12 months work in those last few weeks. So, and that is awesome that you're getting that, your subscriber count's going up. Oh, we got 2,000 views on each of those. Okay, on the shorts. I've had some really rotten shorts lately, and like some of them don't get 10 views. So I threw up two of them yesterday. One was just a quick how-to because I found I had to go look something up, and I was like, well, if that guy can get a couple thousand views out of that how-to short, I could throw one up too. I didn't spend any real time editing it. I just filmed it and shoved it up there, and it got like 150 views or whatever. and then I posted another one, uh, project update, and got 50, 60 views, which just tells me I got 50 to 60 subscribers that'll at least watch my short form, project update. So, and I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go back to banners. All right. All right. So, what else? Little project update. I did work. I had to work Saturday last weekend. It's kind of been a recurring thing. We're way behind on some of the repairs. We've got a set of blades for one customer going out a week, several sets of blades going out for another customer. Fortunately for us, on those other sets, they usually have already been repaired under the auto repair process. Uh, but if we miss something or some damages happen, usually it's damages that were hidden under the bottom of the blade when they were sitting in their stands. When they put it up on a trailer, the trailer puts the bottom of the blade right at eye level. So all that damage that was sitting under the blade that nobody could ever see or find, couldn't even work on it if you could have found it, now is at eye level, so everybody gets to see it. And now we get to go run over there and fix it before they haul it out. So that's part of our process. The other ones are repairs that are previously flown blades that are in usually pretty rough condition when they come back here. And it's our job to resuscitate these things, give them some CPR, and let them be recycled and go back out and have another life. And usually they've already had a pretty rough life. Both transportation to the original site, they've flown for 8 to 10 years, 7 to 10 years sometimes. They come back here in pretty worn condition, and then the handling of bringing them back and getting them back in the yard, just handling these things. It's like a giant eggshell. So they get pretty beat up. I'm hoping that my views, view count, and hours viewed will start to skyrocket the closer I get to the 1,000 subscriber market. And also the live streams help quite a bit with that, as long as I'm the one putting on the live stream. Now, that being said, I believe if you're paid subscriber to the StreamYard, there is a way that each person who jumps on, or if they're another YouTuber and you allow them to, they're allowed to share the live stream with their channel as well. And so those hours, if their subscribers are coming to watch, those hours can go to them as well. So that might be something some of us can discuss going into, is doing a shared live stream. For one, I don't mind jumping on other people's live streams. It helps the conversation keep going better. And, oh wow, he's going to be pulling the body off. Yes, I'm very familiar with, I pulled the body off of mine, and I thought it was going to take a week or two, and here I am. That was March, April, May, June, July. Now we're in August. 5 months. They thought it was going to take 2 to 4 weeks. I did paint the frame. It took almost a month and a half to 2 months. I spent another couple weeks getting the body fitted back onto the frame. Wound up having to use a body lift because I did a test fitting, putting the engine and transmission in once, and it just would not. The transmission was hitting the firewall before it could tilt. It was literally touching the floor, and the oil pan was touching the cross member. So there was no way to tilt it to get it to turn that corner with the body still on the frame. So I lifted the body back off the frame, made more room, put the body lift in there because I was already contemplating a body lift because I made the mistake of ordering some ridiculously tall tires. I lost some people's. But I bought some ridiculously tall tires, and between that and the engine and transmission not wanting to go under the body, and granted, I could probably separate the two and then bolt them back together. That's makes things kind of more complicated. That transmission alone weighs more than the big block, and I think it's 450 pounds dry just for the transmission, and it holds around 5 gallons worth of transmission fluid. I think we may have lost Matthew and Mandy. Oh, there's four people back again. I guess it's a little blip in the system. Frame rot. Yeah, that's mine, like I said, mine wasn't deeply pitted. In most cases, it just had a little surface rust. I went over it with a wire wheel and wire brush, uh, different things, to get different corners and stuff out of there. Yeah, Mandy says she's here. Uh, but I went over it with a wire wheel, wire stuff on the between a grinder, drill. I used the surface conditioning tool. I used little Scotch Brite discs that go onto the drill. Yeah, it just showed two people for a minute. Now it popped back up. Now it's actually back to five. So, welcome to the fifth person here. We got Does Nothing Special. We got Picking with Pickle. We got Mandy and my brother. So, um, so I've given a little update. Got some stickers in. Got a T-shirt in under the sticker exchange program here. I've actually got one set of stickers that I've got in the envelope, ready to ship off. I just need to go buy a stamp or go to the post office and pay for the stamp. I just been a very busy week. I worked this weekend at work, and I had Sunday to get both my laundry done and relax and try to work in the garage. By the time I got out in the garage, it got extremely hot, so I come back in here for a break. Went back in there in the evening and had a little incident with my phone. I'd plugged it in, um, turned the music on. I wasn't even planning on videotaping anything. Actually, that was Saturday evening. Um, Plugged it in to charge because the battery was low. Bluetooth to the big Bluetooth speaker across the shop. Went to walk away, and the cord for the phone charger was wrapped around my ankle. And so I heard something hit the floor, took a step back to go see what hit the floor, and stepped on my phone. So that was Saturday evening. Sunday morning, I got up, peeled the screen protector off, thinking I just broke the screen protector, and found out the screen was in much worse shape than the screen protector was. And so that led me to spending a good chunk of my day at the Verizon store getting another phone. And what is fun, though, I haven't upgraded my phone in probably 2 to 4 years. And I have a habit of holding on to phones until they're absolutely worn out or broken. And so the wife convinced me to not even put new screens on phones. I will take them in to a phone doctor. I've done it a few times myself and learned how to just take them to a phone doctor, pay them to do it, and usually get a new phone screen put on my phone. But being that the phone was also needing a new charge port, that was probably going to add to the repair costs. And I'd kind of been eyeballing smarter smartphones that have better video cameras and camera capabilities. And so while I was there, I was shopping back and forth, and I've been on Motorola phones for a long time because I have found that they're extremely durable. I can usually get a good long life out of those phones. And but I decided to give the comparison shop between the Samsung and the Motorola. They both use the same Android software. 5 years on the LG. I'll go ahead and post that up there. And so yeah, I wound up with the Samsung, their flagship model, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I went all the way to the Ultra model because it's slightly bigger, but it also has all the camera features. This thing can do, I think they just did an update, took away the 8K, but it definitely does 4K at 30, 60, and then you could even film at a higher frame rate so you could slow down footage. It actually has some AI involved in there that can actually, you say, focus on, say, if you want to videotape a car launching at a drag strip, you could focus on the wheel and have that in the screen. And as that wheel starts turning, it can change the frame rate and capture that tire as it's possibly slipping, as it's launching from the drag strip. So that, learning more and more. I've watched one video so far. The one video was over 30 minutes long. Half of it was just on camera features, and the other half was on video features. And I've learned a lot about this thing. I just thought I was buying a nice cell phone that had a decent camera on it, or one of the better cameras of the ones that I was looking at as per ratings. And when the more research I do on this, the more I found out I bought a camera that just happens to have a cell phone attached. This thing is awesome. I can't wait to explore more features of it. I did play with it tonight. Filmed the sticker mail call there, and I was able to show my palm to the camera and start recording like that. So that's one thing. It's like I didn't have to go find. I do have a Bluetooth remote that will Bluetooth to a phone, so you can start and stop record or take pictures. Of course, you already have to have the camera app open to do that. But with this one, I didn't have to go find that. I just palmed the camera and started filming. So that was fun. Need to find out how to turn the filming off, but gotta watch another video for that, I guess. So talked about the project. Well, I didn't even really tell about the project. Matthew and some of the people, if you've watched just the posts on my YouTube channel, I do have the replacement firewall piece partially fitted. It just needs the final trimming details, get it trimmed out, and figure out exactly what's going to get welded, what's going to get panel bonded, because I do want it electrically bonded to the rest of the truck, so it will get some spot welds. I don't know how much spot welding I want to do, because right now I haven't figured out why, because I've turned the amperage setting all the way down on this welder. I'm using the thinnest wire on there. I've played with the wire feed rates, and it still just blows holes through the metal just after about 1 second. You go a second and a half, guarantee you're going to have a hole through the sheet metal. And once you get a hole through this thin sheet metal, you're just fighting it. Fighting it. And then you're just going to have a big blob of weld that you got to grind back down. I don't want to be a grinder and paint makes me the welder I ain't guy. So I'm very good with my composite materials, and I do have some panel bond adhesive, which doesn't have anything to do with wind, but I found some at the shop. And it's very expired, but I tested it out. And one of my buddies is like, well, who's the customer, Rio? Are you going to use that on a blade or something? I said, no. He goes, are you using that on your own truck? He goes, yeah. I told him, yeah. He goes, well, as long as the customer's you don't have to worry about not being able to warranty that because you used expired chemicals. I tested it out on some pieces of plastic or cardboard, glued them together, let them sit for a while, come back the next day, it was glued up. And again, I tried it the next day. I actually glued 2 beer cans together, butt to butt, or the bottom of the can. Just put a little dab on there, and then it takes it a while to cure all the way. But I was able to come back later, and yeah, those definitely weren't going anywhere. That panel bond is still working. So, and it has been stored indoors since I've gotten it. I don't know the history on that prior to that, but if I've had it for a year and a half or so, then I figure it's probably expired. A lot of the chemicals we use in those tubes are 6 months to a year, before they expire. And then they don't necessarily expire. Sometimes they say best if used by. So does your milk, right? It can go bad faster, and sometimes it can be, I don't know anybody if it trusts milk, if it's already starting to turn, but they got buttermilk or something else out of it, I guess. Pickle, are you still on, or does nothing special? Do you want to jump in? I'll throw the link up there. And I'm going to jump over the YouTube side and pin comment if I can. I think somebody might have to. Oops, I goofed that up. Pin. Did that work? All right. That may have worked. Maybe it did. Might be waiting for somebody else to comment afterwards so I can pin the comment, because on the YouTube side it's got a little thing that jumps in the way. I can't click on it. All right. See, I've given some updates on the project, some updates on the phone. Talked about the stickers. Skunk walking by your truck. Well, throw some rocks at him. Make him squirt at you. Let's have some fun. Bad decisions make for great stories. And I've got a few. Some of them are outlandish. Some are ridiculous. And I've been kicked out of several castles, right, Matthew? Well, Ryan Brian actually would know more about that one than you. Alrighty then. Pickle's in the middle of a move. Matthew is now a dad. Congratulations, Matthew. To little Maverick Merrick. He's already got a nickname, Mandy. Thank you. Merrick the Maverick. And does nothing special. What you been up to this week? I haven't got to watch any of your videos lately. It's hard to keep up. You got a lot of channels you're subscribed to, a lot of buddies you want to catch up on their stuff, see what they're working on. And yesterday, around 3:30, I found out about a blade that we'd already loaded, and it had a giant hole, lead edge, eye level, and it's shipping all the way across country. So the idea of trying to send somebody to go repair it at site when it gets delivered. The thing about these permit loads is the permits are pretty expensive, and to delay those trucks is ridiculous. Tens of thousands of dollars a day per day of delays, and so it's literally cheaper to send or fly somebody to go work on the blade when it gets delivered. Then again, the damages weren't really our fault, so we chose to help our customer out and told them, so, we're an hour and a half away from quitting time for the day, but I've got two of us that are willing to stay, and we'll get it done, and we're not going to delay the shipping, and promise you that truck will be able to drive out of here tomorrow morning. And so two of us stayed up, finished around 1 o'clock last night, or this morning. And so I'm not actually groggy. I just set my alarm for a bit later than I normally would have. I'd already called in, and I told my boss, actually it wasn't even my boss, my site manager, because I'm also a fellow manager there. I told him, I said, I'm not going to be here in the morning. And there's going to, my foreman's not going to be here in the morning either. We'll give our squad their marching orders before they leave today, so they'll know what to do in the morning. And I expect them to do that. So, made it in a little late, but I got here, got to work on time, and got some more hours in. And I think I already have like 30-something hours on the clock this week. And Saturday was the end of last week's time card. But yes, I've had a very busy week already. I've had just a few hours on Sunday where I was somewhat able to watch videos, but I was probably sitting at the Verizon store studying up on which phones to get. And I'm pretty happy with the phone I picked. So, in fact, the more comparison between more I learned about the camera features on this one, the other one had some nice camera features, but I don't think they really quite stand up to the Galaxy flagship model here. So, it would be a terrible story, Skunk. Skunks last too long. I'm have a really messed up sense of smell. I smell certain things. I smell chemicals, thank goodness, and I smell smoke. A lot of other things I can't quite smell, probably due to my service in Iraq and our amount of dust storms we had there. During some of the dust storms, I'd wake up with a bloody nose and it wouldn't go away for hours. And just the pollutants in the air. And we wore masks and stuff, but it just, you just get gunked up anyway. You got to be able to breathe. And you're breathing dust, and it just tears up your sinuses. And also, I was staying in a tent with 30 other dudes. So it was probably a good thing that I lost a good chunk of my sense of smell during that time. All right. There we go. Working on trying to get the Galaxy to run. Yes. What year model Galaxy you got there? comments here. Hey, it's Zach Marks. Welcome to the chat here. Just trying to keep people entertained. I was trying to see if anybody would jump in. A 65 Galaxy or does nothing special there. Just give some updates. I got some new stickers off of Landon's Custom Classics, as well as Bad Attitude C10, who also shipped me a T-shirt and some other air fresheners and stuff. So give a little update about how busy my weekend was, and the new cell phone, the Samsung Galaxy. That thing is just a phenomenal camera that's waiting for me to learn how to use it. Work on that volume a little bit. We need a quick tap for that. There we go. And there's no. Let's say jump over there now to do it. Have to jump to the YouTube side. There we go. See if I can pin that comment now. Oh, it is pinned, apparently. All right. Yeah, that's there's a little AI trickery involved with that apparently. It has a 10 times optical zoom and 50 times digital zoom. But if you're getting beyond that digital zoom, if it's something that the AI can recognize and pull features out of with the camera, it will enhance. Kind of like the TV, the old CSI movies and stuff where they enhance. The AI is now getting to that point where it can zoom in on the craters of the moon like that. And that was just phenomenal. I was waiting on resin or something to cure while I was on site last night, and was like, hey, it's talked about zooming in on the moon. Let's do that. And jumped out there and snapped that. And that was really the first time I got to really play with any of the camera features besides just point and shoot before. And then that was when I jumped out there. I was like, oh, let's do this and this and this to that, and just kept zooming. Yes, it is crazy where technology is going. Like I said, that the one video I watched was 32 minutes. I didn't even get finished with it. But the first 15 minutes was just camera mode, and the last 15 or 17 minutes would have been talking about the video modes. And it's got quite a few of those features that, I watched about it. I'm aware that it has some of those features. Now I have to go back and learn how to use those features. So, like I said, if I had more downtime at work or here, I'll start playing with the camera more. So, like I said, I was able to, instead of pressing record, just show up my palm, and it gives a little timer wheel and starts the camera. So. And yeah, we got 5 people in here. That's not terrible. Tend to get more people after the little bit of time goes on, I guess, as they free up out of their live streams. Like Mater's workshop jumps in typically, and that's where the conversation really kicks off, I guess. Sometimes it's hard to just keep a conversation going when you're just reading stuff off of the screen. So unless you pre-talk about or pre-think of some topics to talk about. And here we are 40 minutes in here, so I've reiterated a few topics, or catch people up on what the topics were as they jump in. So anybody else got anything? Does nothing specials, give us a little bit of the update. He's working on his 65 Galaxy there. Zach Price, what's your project or projects that you've got on the YouTubes? Are you a non-YouTuber? They just have a really cool thumbnail there. Pickle, you still on here? I'd love for you to jump in. We're up to 6 in here somehow. Oh, welcome everybody in. We're giving some updates. Got your last day at Peterbilt tomorrow. 13-day vacation, and you start to go back at Rush Trucking in the body shop. Okay. So you work on the big trucks. Like I said, I'm familiar with those guys because that's how we get all of our equipment in and out of here. Most of the stuff coming in and out of the yards, permit loads or rail. And you're talking about some fun, loading stuff on and off those rail cars. That's the utmost of caution has to be taken. They don't like anybody to be injured in or around or near the rail cars. And if the incident's bad enough, the NTSB will investigate. National Transportation Safety Board. Nothing on YouTube yet. Let me go ahead. Used to have a satire cooking show. Think about posting bodywork videos at the news shop. That's even if it's after hours where you can just say, hey, this is what we worked on or what I worked on at work today. I know sometimes your employer may not want you giving positive or negative publicity. But if you're working on specific projects that, might be the project you're working on, they might allow that. Don't know. I've got a buddy, he used to post some stuff here and there at the body shop he worked at. And they were a restoration shop, so they did, old Mustangs and, trucks and Fords and Chevys alike. And of course, he's partial to Fords. I get it. Some people are more brand partial than others. But he actually, some of his more recent videos, or that he posted more recently, one of the videos was several years old. He details aircraft as well, and had the whole seats and stuff out of a Cessna 410, I believe it was. Stripped it all the way down, got the carpet out, cleaned the carpets, the seat belts, the seats, just completely detailed that thing. And that was for a aircraft broker. So when somebody puts their aircraft up for sale, they don't want to do the effort of, like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, where every Joe Blow wants to, hey, I'll be there tomorrow. Hey, I'll be there tomorrow. Well, the aircraft, you don't want to have to deal with all that. You pay the broker to deal with all that. The broker vets these people, figures out if they actually have the money to purchase an aircraft before they're ever going to show the aircraft off. Or, they establish more professional boundaries, than in, say, your Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. So they're dealing with a professional, and you're not having to deal with the customer until that, has all been vetted and worked out to where you might have to deal with the purchaser, or you don't even want to deal with the purchaser. That's what you're paying the broker to do. Well, the broker also hires somebody to come in and detail your aircraft and make sure it's, as presentable as it can be. Hopefully for as little money as they can get away with. But, my buddy, that's part of what he deals with too. He'll spend X amount of hours on an aircraft detailing it, and then the brokers be like, oh, well, it took you so long. You don't want to pay all that money out. So anyway, he jumped on one of these live streams recently, and y'all blessed him with like doubled his subscriber count real. So speaking of which, maybe I need to text him and remind him about the live stream. And how's everybody's week been going? I got a little bit out of Zach, and does nothing special. I know Picking with Pickle was busy this weekend over in Dildo, the place location. He bought the t-shirt literally, and the bumper sticker. I think he said he spent about 115 Canadian pesos or whatever they use up there, over there buying the t-shirt and some other stuff. Hopefully got a lot of stuff for that. just a second here. All right, got some new comments coming in. You know, if y'all aren't making comments, I have a hard time. Keeping the conversation going by myself. I know I can talk a lot, but here are 45 minutes into talking to myself or talking to this camera on the screen, an occasional comment rolls in. Yes, Mandy managed to sell. That's not a new record high, but it's up in there in the upper echelons of what pins sell for sometimes. It's a black coral pin, which is extremely limited production due to the availability of the materials and the cost of the raw materials. To make a black coral pin, we have to go to a specific location and buy that directly from somebody that's allowed to dive for that material. And our best translation from him, he said it's out of 40 years of diving, that piece that he sold us was probably the second largest piece he's ever pulled up in 30 years out of the 40 years of diving. So that was a extremely large piece to him. We just needed it to be a specific diameter, a minimum diameter, and lengths, and we got what we could from him. And I think she's got what, 4? Yeah, we even got the coral root or the base of the coral segment. And they're not allowed to harvest any of the plant while it's alive. They have to wait until it's dead and just a raw skeleton of the coral. And we don't want to cause harm to the coral. That's why we are buying it from one of the people who are licensed to go get it. But it does make a beautiful beautiful pattern. It's kind of like a wood pattern. It's got its own grain to it, and it doesn't grow very straight. And it shatters quite easily. It's a brittle material. It's kind of like bone or antler. So Mandy could probably tell you more about that. Hey, Mater's on here now too. He's saying his highs to Zach Price and everything. Yeah, she made 4 pins out of it so far. And I think each one just gets better and better looking. Just by the amount of time and special care that she gives to each one, they get better looking. Mater, I've put up the link. It should be pinned to the top if you want to jump in. Invite does nothing special, and Picking with Pickle if he's still around. My comment section just moved. Yeah, she says it's a pain to work with, and she's adding abalone, which is also very beautiful, but also a pain to work with. So she's combining 2 of the more painful materials to work with all into to one pin. In fact, Mandy, if you allow me to, I'll share a post of that. It's just a picture on my YouTube channel. I'll share a post of that tomorrow. So, and so some of the people have commented about the post I made yesterday was my most recent post about the little zoom in on the moon with the camera here. So, and she says it's okay. So, yeah, I'll do that later or tomorrow. Put a post in there. Change the background music. Now, background music's not too overpowering yet, is it? Oh, does nothing special's jumped in. Let me get him on here. I think I'm gonna change it to free beer tomorrow. And there we go. Does nothing special. Welcome to the live stream.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, I can hear you just right.
Oh, okay.
You're on that infamous cigarette there. You're just a face in the dark with a cigarette, Cherry.
I like the dark. It's private.
It's private. Then what you doing out there? You working? You a record driver? Am I correct? Or just hauling?
No, I pull a tanker.
Pull a tanker. Okay. So you're not working right now then?
No, I actually got off early for a change.
Oh, okay. Off early?
4 o'clock's early, but
yeah, they got to get up early then. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get up too early this week. They got me running local, so it ain't too bad.
Oh yeah, local runs. At least you get there and back, right?
Yeah.
Does it pay the same or no?
It all depends. You know, some of the local stuff, you know, it's like 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
They got like a different pay rate for it. Anything further, that's when the mileage stuff kicks in.
Ah, okay. Yeah. My buddy, I call him Square Body Eric. He's a truck driver. He hauls grain. He's usually at somewhere before 4 or 5 in the morning to pick up, you know, and load. He's been able to haul both ways. So he'll haul from Garden City to Wichita and Wichita back. You know.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff we haul, it's basically, you know, one load and straight back because we got dedicated tanks to the customers.
Yeah. Okay, dedicated tanks. So do you just disconnect or?
Yeah, what it is
disconnect.
It's what they call a dry bulk pneumatic. And
dry bulk pneumatic.
Yeah, we haul a lot of plastics, a lot of food grade.
Okay,
usually,
I see.
Yeah, usually we have our customers. They'll order a rail car in. They'll have like polyethylene plastic on it, and then there's usually about 4 loads per rail car. And then once we get that car cleaned out, then we get the tank washed and we go to another one.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Mater.
It's hot.
It's hot. You're out in that garage. There's no AC in there.
Yeah, there is, and I've got
to. Still not enough, huh?
Oh no, not with it.
Hey, I got to jump out and jump back in right quick.
All right, we'll see you in a minute.
Well, no, I mean, I checked my phone and saying it's 102.
Man, yeah, it's been pretty warm here in Garden City, Kansas, the last few weeks, and you know, we got a little reprieve where it takes a little longer to get up to temperature, which means we get a little bit more work done before it gets ridiculously hot.
Yep.
Zach, I
was going to say, Zach, thanks for subbing. Appreciate it.
All right.
Let's see what that's got my count to right now.
It might not show until tomorrow.
It's showing right now. I'm 3 away from 600.
Woo!
Man,
I hit that struggle bus. It took me, you know, forever. Every time you get to the double zeros, you know, you get there and it'll hover there for a while and go back down, or you might hit it and then the next day it goes back below it. You know, and right now I think I'm at 718, 719. And, you know, I quit jumping on as many live streams because I realize I've got to get this project back on the road.
Yeah. So. Well, it's like for me, you know, it took a while to get between the 400 to 500. And now that I've gotten over the 500, it's like it just zoomed by.
And skyrockets a bit between 5 and 6. Yeah.
About a month and a half now.
Yeah. Does nothing special. They're asking if it feels, you know, like the liquid shifts often, because they're assuming a tanker is just purely liquids, like you're suddenly hauling plastics and stuff. Even
no, it's no liquid. It's all dry stuff.
Okay,
like different kinds of natural plastic. You know, polyethylene, polystyrene, polypropylene. We haul a lot of powdered PVC plastic.
Oh, okay.
We haul a lot of food grade.
Plastic.
Lead oxide.
Well, that's completely different from one to the other. Food grade to lead oxide, yeah. Same tanker? You just have to pay to wash it out, or?
No, well, lead, everything, they got everything categorized in different products. Natural plastic goes on one series of trailer. PVC goes on a different series.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Lead's completely a whole series by itself.
I would hope
So
so.
all you're doing is you're just pulling up, grabbing a different trailer every time, basically.
Yeah, well, a lot of times, some of that stuff I have to load it myself. We got what we call self loaders.
Okay.
Basically, it's set up. It just turns the tank into a big damn vacuum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got,
Watched
you
them
got,
load the powder concrete. They take it from
yeah,
the train cars and put it in a hopper, store it in the hopper, and they use a blower to move it around to the hopper. And the same when they put in the tanker.
yeah. I got a blower mounted on the frame rail of my truck.
There you go. Okay.
Now, are you?
Now I'm up to speed.
I was gonna say, now you just hauling what? In the same state, or do you go out of state also?
Oh, I go out of state a lot. I end up going to Pennsylvania, Ohio, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, South Carolina.
Where you
Oh,
at?
I'm in North Carolina.
Okay, North Carolina.
he doesn't ever get his. He don't ever get down here.
No.
I,
Probably not too often.
I used to go down to Texas a little bit. I used to go down there to what was the name of that town? Greenville, Texas.
Greenville.
Okay. Greenville ain't
Yeah.
that far. Greenville's probably.
Where's that at, Mater?
Greenville's right there between Denton and Red
Okay.
River.
Okay.
So
Heading
that's-
out of state into Oklahoma there. Yeah.
that's right before you get into Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's down there
Okay.
right off of what is it, Interstate 30.
35.
35, yeah.
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 I'm familiar with that road.
The reason I know that is because my girlfriend is from Oklahoma. So, yeah, going up there to see her a couple of times. And then when her dad passed away, we actually had to go up there for the memorial service. So, yeah, I've been up that way. Plus, when I've gone to the casino just on the other side of the border, it's like, okay, I know I'm in Greenville. I'm not that far away from the casino. And the casino, which is Windstar, that's like 2 hours from here.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a long
Yeah.
time since I've been down there. I haven't been down there in close to 10 years.
Wow, it's been a while. Yeah. I pass through there every time I drive to and from, through Oklahoma, Kansas. Now, where I'm at in this specific area of Kansas, sometimes I take 35, but it'll also diagonally me up towards the, towards Panhandle. So it's, the East Coast Ken just jumped in, says hi. And he says he's cruising. Zach saying hi to him. There we go. Goodness, let's see. Yeah, we've still got the right comment going. But yeah, it's part of my trek. Last 2 years in a row, I was working in Nebraska. 1 year I was in around Blue Hill, Nebraska, and the other one was pretty close to Lincoln, Nebraska. It was about 45 minutes from Lincoln to where the site was, and the other one was probably another hour due west of there. So wound up staying in a different city. Well, actually, I stayed in wasn't even a trailer park. It was it wasn't an RV park. It was a trailer park in Blue Hill, which was actually 12 minutes from site. 12 minutes from site wasn't too bad. I literally would just stay on the dirt roads and race the headlights that I could see on the paved road, a mile north of me. just try to keep up with traffic, even though I wasn't anywhere on a paved road. I knew I wasn't going to get stopped for anything because the cops weren't out of bed yet.
It's only because the donut shops weren't opened up yet, huh?
Well, they were up all night arresting the drunk people leaving the bar.
So they were preoccupied.
They had been preoccupied. They were arresting themselves or finished people booking the people, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, it was a neat little town. When you paid the fee to get your electricity turned on, it also included your sewer, water, garbage, and they even made you pay $7 a month for mosquito spray, because they would spray the entire little city there for mosquitoes. Wasn't bad. My neighbors immediately behind me were kind of noisy, but you couldn't blame them for it. The lady had her husband had passed away from COVID that year, and they had a bunch of cattle over there, and she would come and feed those cattle every morning, every evening, and the cows would make all their ruckus when they wanted to, and they had a little Australian Shepherd dog, and that little dog was great at corralling the cows, but she also would nip at the her handler there, her ankles, and that woman would scream and yell at that dog. She was wearing those rubber boots, and that dog would bite her hard enough through those boots that she'd scream bloody murder, and then she'd fuss at the dog. But there was an immediate yelp of pain, and it followed with cursing at the dog. So I got a kick out of it every now and then. And it was funny though, because the lady was like, "That dog doesn't like most men," and that dog would just come running over and lick me and love on me. I was like, "I don't see a problem with your dog, ma'am." She's like, "That dog hates me even." She at one time she come over there. She said, "This dog comes to you one more time, I'm just going to let you have her." And that's when I started keeping beef jerky treats around. She's like, "I didn't know you actually liked my dog." So I don't think my wife would let me keep her anyway. I don't have room in my camper for a puppy.
I was going to say, did you happen to catch the video on my the jig I made for squaring up boards that are got a curve in them?
I have not got to see that yet. When did you put it up?
What, Sunday, I think?
Sunday was a busy day. I was busy getting the new phone and had previously broke the other phone. I did use the time optimally. I did work in the shop in the morning, and then when it got too hot to work in the shop, I went to the Verizon store. And then by the time I got back from the Verizon store, it was finally starting to cool off again. So
Cost me it was less than $20 to get the whole thing made.
To make a jig to be able to straighten out curved boards.
Yep. And believe it or not, it was just 3 of the clamps I got from Harbor Freight.
Yeah, got them from Harbor Freight. You got them for under $20 total, huh?
Yep, for 3 of them.
There you go. That's some good coupon shopping going on right there.
I didn't even use a coupon. That was their normal price for them. They were like $5 a piece.
There you go.
And all I did was I just found me a 2x6 that had a little bit of a warp to it, and I ran it over my the joiner to take some of that out, and then I ran some on the table saw. Then the rest of it through the planer. I got it good and smooth. None of this number in it, and no bowing. And I just took those clamps and got them screwed down on there. I clamped the pieces of wood that I've got and put it up against the fence of the table saw, run it through nice and flat.
Yeah. That's the way to get them straightened up.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and the biggest problem is I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 160, 170 more boards to go to get done.
You got
some, I'm basically redoing this whole ceiling.
Yep. You got to straighten them all out and then put them back.
Yeah, because when I put this all down, I didn't do any of that to the boards, and there's a lot of gaps. I mean, I could see straight up. It's like, that's too many gaps for the heat to come through and the cold go back up. And no, I got to do something.
Yep, got to figure that out and square it up.
And I'm talking to.
Now you're gonna have to probably add a board or two by the time you straighten all the warped ones out, huh?
Well, I mean,
lose a bit of wood.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got quite a bit still. But I was actually talking to my local lumber yard, and I think for about $170, $180, I can get enough insulation to put in the roof and everything, running an R13.
There you go.
So
Now, are
that'll
you going
help.
to just put the insulation between your rafters, or are you going to do the conditioned attic, where you put it against the upper
No,
portion of the roof
it
itself?
actually, no, because the way this garage was set up, you've got the wooden framework, and then up on the roof area, they put tar paper down and it puts corrugated sheet metal.
Right.
So that's where, if you're in a corrugated sheet metal building in the Texas summer, it's going to be hot.
Yes.
Yeah, you can
Very.
bake cookies in there.
Right.
Yeah, and like I
Definitely
said,
bake cookies in your attic for sure.
I probably could. And like I said, that's why I'm trying to get all that done. Trying to come up with some ideas. That's the main reason I was like, let me put this floor in. That's why I got the sheets and everything running down the center to try and help separate it and block it off. That way, keep it cool in, and same way for the heat during the winter.
Right. It makes a difference. The better you can insulate, the easier everything is going to be to keep warm or cool.
Right. And the plan is to, once I got both sides done with the flooring, I'm actually going to put a little attic ladder, and that way I can still be able to get up there with no problem.
Oh yeah.
To store stuff. But yeah. I got to basically rebuild this whole wall going straight down the center.
Oh, okay.
And then like right where I'm at and everything, I'll actually have a door going through that way and get into the other side. It will all be separated. So I'll get me another diesel heater for over there, get me an air conditioner for over there. That way, if I'm over there doing my woodworking and turn the lights on, I'll have lights upstairs even.
Yep.
Mater, didn't you say you had one of those diesel heaters already?
Yeah.
How good is it?
Well, I feel like this. I've been out here when it was like 20 degrees. Now, I still have to have a jacket or like a pullover, but I got the heat and everything blowing right at me, and I can fill that tank up. It's a little bit over a gallon total, and I can have that thing run all day long.
Oh, okay.
I have one here installed in my camper. One would probably heat half of the camper easy. They're just they have a limit to how much fuel they can pump or burn,
Right.
But it doesn't burn much. They're pretty efficient. Right. If you're looking to put it in a truck cab or something of that sort, or your sleeper, you could definitely heat that to a full extent.
Oh yeah.
This camper here it's not great, greatly insulated, but I do have it ducted in a way that I want to keep. It heats my bathroom floor, which is awesome, and it heats the bedroom really well. Yep. So I mean, worst case scenario, if things just get too cold, and I've been through last winter here, it was -40.
Yeah.
With it -40, that thing was running at full tick for the most part. Now that being said, I do also run electric heaters, but I have tested to see if it could run, without electricity, without 110 power, because it runs off the 12-volt batteries. So it can run independent with the power off for several hours just off those batteries. Yep. If it needed to, and it can heat especially the bathroom and bedroom, your two survival rooms in a way, and keep the water from freezing. I added
right now. How big of one do you have?
Probably the smaller mid-size one.
Okay, because I know there's a 3,000, there's a 5, and the 8. I've got the 8,000 BTU.
I think I did the 5.
Okay.
And the main thing is that little clicker pump. How much how much fluid is it pumping per pulse?
Right.
And I've got mine running off of just normal 5-gallon fuel cans, and all I did was I modified one lid to where that little brass or steel fuel line that goes into the tank is on the screw cap. So I take the normal cap off, screw this cap, drop that steel line into the tank, screw the cap on, and there you go. I can hot swap with the fuel tanks without running out of fuel.
Yeah. Well, see, like for me, the one that I've got, it's an all-in-one, so I don't have to worry because it came.
Oh, you just put fuel in it.
Yeah, it just came pre-assembled raw. The only thing I had to do is hook up the wiring for the electric, hook up the exhaust and everything on it, hook up the fresh air intake, put fuel in it, and go.
Oh, hey, 6%.
Hey, yep, 6% just jumped in.
Yep. And now for me, since I've got that out here in my garage and everything, all I've got is 110.
Right.
It's like, okay, how am I going to power this thing? It's like, oh, okay, I did something that no one else had ever thought of. I'm actually using a power supply for a computer.
There you go. I've done that before to run battery chargers from RC cars and stuff.
Yep. Because the yellow wires coming out and everything are all 12 volt. And this
that has quite a few watts. 400 watts, am I right? Most of them?
Well, this one here is rated at 500, but the heater only takes like 40.
There you go.
So I've got plenty of power. If I wanted to, I could run about 5 or 6 more.
You can run more of those, yes.
I can run more of them if I need to.
Yes. They're pretty nifty. Like I said, mine was a little tricky to install. Plus, I chose the trickiest possible place to try to install it. I could have probably just bought the standalone unit like that and just ducted it in, hooked a wire and fuel hose, or wouldn't have to hook a fuel hose to it, and could have probably just literally dropped it in my stowage bay.
Right.
But he's been editing his brains out. I wish I had time to even consider editing. Like I said, I worked last night till 1 a.m. today, so that was a busy day. So hopefully I'll get some time off this next weekend to actually work on the project and maybe shoot some footage.
Yep.
And I'm going to try to shoot footage on my phone and see how well I can do at editing on the phone. I know I'm not going to be able to do as much editing, but, it's sometimes it's a matter of just getting decent footage together and putting it on YouTube.
Well, it's just like for me now, I'll record stuff like on my phone if I'm out and about. And, it's kind of like when I did that Harbor Freight video. I was actually in the stores, like, I didn't have my camera with me, but I had my phone. It's like, okay, I'm just using it. But everything else, I'm actually using a regular camera. Then I'll, download everything to the computer, and I've got editing software that I can sit there and splice everything together. But now, if you want, like I was saying, if you want one of those diesel heaters for inside your cab, that smaller one, I'd probably go either you could get by with the 3, but to me, on the safe side, I'd go either the 5 or the 8, considering the fact that parts and everything. Okay, the 3K is one particular size, but the good thing about the 5 and the 8 is everything is the same. Because
they're physically the same size.
They're almost okay. Gaskets are going to be the same. The blower and everything's going to be the same. It's the biggest difference is the size of the injector, and how much the pump itself, as far as how much fuel it's pushing.
Right.
But I had to basically rebuild this one, and I got lucky the fact that the 5K and everything parts are interchanged between that and the 8.
Well, thanks for stopping by, 6%.
Yep.
Would have enjoyed having you in the show, but that's all right.
Hey, Twisted.
No, a big reason I
Yeah.
was asking about those diesel heaters was I was thinking about maybe getting one for my shop for this winter. I'm gonna put a wood stove in there, but every little bit helps.
Oh yeah,
Um, but
Oh
I
yeah.
got it's all metal and it's a 20 by 40, so
right.
I might have to
Might
end up
consider
getting
two of them for that.
maybe three.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean 3 would work. Now, what I plan on doing, I haven't done it on this one, is what I want to do is since most of the heat and everything is going right out the exhaust, what I want to do is find a way of capturing that and basically having some kind of having the exhaust pipe itself going through a box that's got a fan on it that's blowing over that pipe and everything, taking the heat and everything away from there. That way, not everything is going straight outside.
Right.
I see what you're
Oh,
saying. I would like
oh,
to
hey.
try to add a
Oh,
run of longer pipe, you know, for the exhaust.
Yeah,
But you got to be careful because you don't want your exhaust to leak. The way mine
yeah.
works is my exhaust is ported to the outside of the camper, and I got lucky where I picked to put the unit at. I just barely got away with using the stainless steel exhaust pipe that came with it.
right.
Had I moved it over a quarter inch more, it wouldn't have fit. So
Oh,
I
Now,
just
hey,
happened to
Twisted
pick the right
Mopar.
spot.
now, are you running the muffler? What
I
they
am
call?
not running the muffler. I
Okay,
couldn't get it to fit the pipes. It wouldn't even shove into that steel pipe.
I got
So
mine. Now they do on there. You actually have to be careful because that muffler is supposed to go in there one direction. Uh, there's an
right,
actual on the very bottom. There is an actual drain hole that you're supposed to have it down in case of any kind of condensation buildup.
gotcha. Okay. Mine is just I mine runs it runs down and out at a nice steady angle, and it hits that stainless exhaust port that's ported to the side of the camper.
Yep.
And my concern was that it might get too hot and try to melt the foam insulation in the wall or anything like that. And I think that the port that I got, it has enough space between the exhaust that's going through it that it has a chance to cool before it gets heat sinking. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
So
Matthew. That's exactly what I want to do is put like some kind of like a heat sink on there. But like I said, have a fan blowing across it. Uh, that way it's
yeah,
getting that heat and everything off the exhaust.
more of a heat exchanger built into the exhaust to
Right.
draw to steal back more of your heat back from it.
Correct.
Yeah, I like that idea. It's kind of an over engineering it, so to speak. Sounds like a project my grandfather would have done.
Right. And believe it or not, I actually got the idea from a guy I met years ago. He actually had a wood burning fireplace in his house, and he actually had 2 of those heat exchangers in the chimney, and he was using that to help heat the rest of the house.
Right?
So you had that the radiant heat coming off the stove itself because it was one of those old Ben Franklin cast iron stoves.
Okay. Yeah.
So not only did he have that, but he says if you actually think about it, most of your heat's going straight up your chimney. So he put one of
Oh
those heat
yeah.
exchangers with the fan and everything. I think he said like 2 or 3 of them in there, and he actually had it ducting out to different parts of the house. And he said that worked out perfect during the winter time.
Yep. Putting that heat exchanger in there, and I see
Mhm.
that on like Pinterest where people make the new modern, stoves, and then they'll put the exhaust, chimney, zigzagging through the
Yeah.
space as it's going up.
Yeah, could do that,
Uh,
Matthew.
Matthew, do you remember Dad had some sort of wood or fuel burning stove in the living room, and it had a fan that sat on top of it no batteries in it, but when it got warm, it produced its own electricity, and the fan would start circulating air around the room. I don't remember where he got that from, but it was quite a neat device, and it worked.
Now, one thing I have seen on those diesel heaters is guys, when they take them apart and everything, all the carbon buildup inside. I mean, you can have 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch carbon buildup inside there.
In the flame box part of it, yeah.
In the flame box and everything. And now I don't know if it's because of, maybe how little amount I ran mine, or because I wound up what I wound up doing. I actually added some diesel system fuel cleaner to the tank, and then actually ran kerosene through it.
I was to say changing the fuel up just a small percentage.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that last winter. We had a lot of oil changes where they had. I was like, what if I could mix a little bit of that? And I said, well, that'd probably make it dirtier.
Right.
I said, but I could probably get away with adding a little bit of gas or kerosene to it. And I was like, gas might be a little too dangerous. Kerosene would probably be safer.
Kerosene, well, you got to consider the only difference between kerosene and diesel is that in order to get kerosene, they actually refine the diesel more to get the sulfur and a lot of the other additives out of it. Because if you take a jar of each and have them sitting side by side, that diesel is going to be yellow and kerosene is going to be clear. And that's because the kerosene is refined more.
Okay.
That's just like, like down south here, we have, what we call diesel would be like diesel number 2 for up north. But then up north, it's like diesel number 1. That's because it's like half diesel, half kerosene.
I remember when I was in Grand Forks, North Dakota, they had 3 different diesels at the pump. And they only had, with a particular place I was at, they only had 1 gasoline with 3 different diesels. I was like, what's going on here? Am I in the alternate universe?
Nope.
They said, we have different stuff to keep them from, they also had to keep it from freezing.
Right.
And all that. Right. So, yeah.
So, I mean, you probably had like your diesel number, like a diesel number 1 would have been your mixture. Diesel number 2, and then if they had diesel 3, that's probably straight kerosene.
Yeah.
Because kerosene is a little bit thinner.
Right.
So it's like I said, it does not have all the added. It's not the additives, but all the sulfur and all the different kinds of pollutants that you would
further refined. Yeah.
Right. And kerosene, it burns cleaner than diesel.
I used to deliver to a place a long time ago. They used to get this stuff in. I think they called it number 5 heating oil.
Fuel oil?
Yeah. Basically, he told me basically all it was like crude oil that had the trash filtered out of it.
Yep.
That was it.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, they used to get, I think it was like 2 loads a night.
Yep.
Goodness gracious. They were burning a lot of it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they finally changed it over to natural gas. They actually made what was that stuff? Chromic acid at this plant for chrome plating.
Right.
Yeah, they get the raw chromium ore in. It would come in by ship, and then they would load it on truck, bring it in there, and they would bottom drop it onto a conveyor that was over a grate or under the grate. And then I think they made chromic acid. They pretty much anything that would use chromium, they made it there.
Wow.
And that's some crazy looking stuff. It actually
so they separated their different properties out of that to be able to be used for different tasks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently the place was just toxic as hell. They actually had to catch every drop of rainwater that fell on the property.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was taking crushed limestone down there, and what they would do is they would filter everything they could out of the water, And before they could release it into the river, they would actually have to mix the lime in with it and some other things to actually, the water had to match the pH of the river.
Yep.
That hour.
Exactly. Okay.
Yep.
And
Yeah, when you
before they
said
could release,
lime, I was like, okay, they're changing the pH of the water. So they filter it
yes,
first, and then they have to change the pH before it can go out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some days you go down there, they might use a ton an hour. Next day, they might be
Wow.
using 10 tons an hour.
Oh,
And
wow.
on the water level and everything, and how much rain they've got. Yep. Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
you talked about that. That reminded me of the that movie Aaron Brockovich.
yeah,
Basically the same thing with that plant and everything. Had those tanks and everything where the liners were leaking out. It was leaching into the main water supply system, and people were getting the cancer because of it.
yeah,
That's the main reason for doing that to those chemicals, are putting the that in there into the water. That way it changes the pH on it and everything.
Yeah. Got to neutralize it.
Yep.
Man. I remember used to have a creosote plant where they would creosote telephone poles and railroad ties
yeah,
in Conroe. And they wound up getting fines and fines and fines from the EPA. And the EPA is like, y'all need to clean up your act. They said, you just can't do creosote without making a mess. And the first year they had to dig out, around the vat where they'd actually bring in just a whole trainload of railroad ties or whatever they would bring into there, one car at a time. They literally could fit the whole train car in there. And when they, at the doorway of that though, there would just be mountains of creosote sludge ooze coming out, and they got fined so heavily that they had to actually scoop all the soil from that area out and clean it.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
in front of that, and that cost them a pretty penny, and they paid their fines. They just paid their fines, just kept paying their fines. And the EPA is like,
Yeah.
no, we don't want you to just pay your fines. We want you to clean up your act. And eventually they just got totally shut down. That property sat derelict for probably 15 to 20 years. Eventually, through the fines and stuff, that entire property had to be scooped out down to the bedrock.
Ooh.
yeah,
All the
Yeah,
soil wound up in the landfill anyway. Just moved it across, a couple of miles down the road in the county, and they had to pay for new topsoil to be brought in. And now I don't know what buildings they've built there now, but it's some warehouses.
yeah. We used to have a place here next county over that used to do creosote cross ties, and they EPA shut them down too.
I don't know where they're getting cross ties done at now. I don't know if they're creosoting anymore. They're probably just doing the green.
There was a
treatment.
place in Alabama that was still doing them. They got in trouble with the railroad though because they weren't creosoting them. They were just painting them, staining them, making them look like they got creosote.
Ooh.
Yeah, then cross ties started rotting out like 4 years later.
Right? They were just green wood.
Yeah, they said they told him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they told the employees down there, said, we don't care what you do, just make them look black.
Yep, just make them look black.
Yeah.
So we say we creosoted them.
Yeah, they were using paint, used motor oil, just whatever they get their hands on from what I
Mix
heard.
paint and use motor oil together. Yeah.
I know around here, when the railroad goes in to start replacing the ties and everything, you can actually go in and buy the old ones. They actually have places that'll actually take the old ones to, and you can buy them from them.
Yeah, some of them around here, you can see them. You'll see them out somewhere. They're tearing them up, putting in new ones. You can go by there and ask them, and they're like give them to you. But there's a couple of them down here. They catch you even looking at them, they'll call law on you.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, because I had a neighbor. He went to go get some a while back, and he loaded his truck up, and he got pulled over and turned out it was a railroad cop. And he asked him, said, "What are you doing with them?" He said, "I took them." He said, "I thought y'all giving them away." He said, "No, we're not." He said, "Take them back."
Ooh,
Take them back. Whoops.
Yeah, they loaded about 20 of them on the back of a ton truck. You had to go back and take
Yeah.
every one of them back off.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he told the cop. He
He's
said,
lucky he didn't get in more trouble over that.
yeah, he told him. He said, back where I come from in Virginia, he said, they let us have them. He said, well, this ain't Virginia.
Wow.
yeah, each state's different on how they do
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And it also depends upon the railroad itself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to ask somebody before you take it, too.
Right. Because, I mean, Santa Fe might be doing one thing, but Burlington Northern, they're going to be doing something different.
Yeah.
That could have been that railroad cop wanted them. Somebody in his family wanted them.
Yep.
Like I said, sometimes it helps to ask before you take. Sometimes,
Yep.
So.
But they make good, you can build quite a bit of good stuff out of them.
Oh, yeah. We use them as corner posts in the fencing.
Yep.
You
That's
put that as your corner post, it's not going anywhere.
No. And I've done that before. I've actually got my hands on about 24 of them. It's like, yeah, they made some damn good fence posts. The only thing is I had to make sure I had that hole dug a lot bigger around.
Yeah.
I know they don't burn very well.
That's the purpose. They're not supposed to rot or burn.
Yep.
We planted some of those at some corner posts on my dad's property when I was in high school. And now even my youngest brother's a dad. So, that property's, those corner posts are still there. And those were ones that had been previously used and partially rotten. Of course, we picked the better ones that we had out of the bunch to put as corner posts.
I know my parents, they bought this house back in 78. And on the very back corner, there was about probably about a 500-gallon cistern that was collecting the rainwater. And it was actually on railroad tie framework.
Yeah.
I've got some of them still sitting over there. They're rotted away, but I still got some. They're still sitting
decades and decades, yeah.
But the only reason we don't have the cistern is because that galvanized finally did rot away and flooded the backyard.
The old galvanized cistern leaked out, huh?
Yeah. My dad, what he was doing, he was hooking up a garden hose to it, and he was just running it over to an area we had the garden and everything tilled up. So he was going over there, just he put the hose in the road and walked back, turn the water on, and then every now and then he just go over there and move the hose, and then go turn the water off.
Oh yeah,
it worked.
Yep. Those railroad ties can last quite a while.
Yep. Of course, I tell you, that's one thing that does piss me off is that some states, I think, I'm not going to say which ones, but I know they're out west, but they actually fine you if you collect rainwater.
Yeah.
I'm going, really? You're going to fine me for something that Mother Nature's given to me for free?
Landed on my roof or wherever. Landed on my property. Yeah.
Yeah, they try to do a rain tax here.
Really?
They come up with some bogus ass formula about how many square feet your roof is and how much annual rainfall. They divided something and they come up with this figure, and that got shot down quick.
I hope so.
All it is your local government trying to get more money out of you.
Taxes upon your taxes. Next, you're going to be paying taxes for paying taxes.
Yeah.
It's like AT&T where they got caught making up a tax. They did. They got caught.
Yeah, AT&T is about a rip off.
Aren't they all? one way or another. But what are you going to do? We all like our cell phones.
All right, Jackson. I know you like trivia.
Oh, okay. Here we go again.
What does AT&T stand for?
Oh my goodness. I remember old Ma Bell, but I don't remember AT&T. Or Southwestern Bell.
Right.
I do not know.
I think I know.
What's that?
Atlantic Telephone and Telegraph.
There it is.
Nope.
No? Okay.
You're close.
What is it?
It's American.
Uh,
Yep. American Telephone and Telegraph. Speaking of which, on something like that,
Oh, goodness. I saw a brown bottle in Mater's hand earlier, so. I've been on for an hour and a half. That's my third one.
yeah, usually during the work week, I don't drink because I got to get up in the morning, and
I hear you.
that don't help.
there you go.
What?
Yeah, glass
Oh, that's the
insulator.
insulator. Yeah. Telegraph insulator. There's places I can still drive around towards Panhandle of Texas, and they're still on the side of the road on the little telegraph poles.
And what a lot of people don't realize is it's actually got threads up inside here.
Yeah.
Goodness. What's the thread
I
pitch
actually
on
got somewhere buried around here somewhere. I actually got some that are actually kind of a blue color, and I got some that are purple.
Well, this one's got the green tint. I've
Yeah.
got some that are really dark green. But no, it wasn't just telegraph, it was also electric.
Yeah.
Because they would actually have the piece up on top of that crossbar, and this actually got screwed on there. Then for right here in this groove, they would actually wrap the wire around it.
Yeah.
And it was
It
just an
works.
insulator.
Yeah, it works.
And
Worked
that-
for the
I mean,
voltage they were dealing with.
yeah, I mean, they were probably still running, like 110, 150, 160. I mean, I don't know what they were running back then, but it's almost comparable to what we've got today.
I need to take some pictures. We have some insulators in the warehouse that we're storing for some of our customers. They're taller than I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can imagine the voltages those are made for.
yeah.
All of
I
it.
think it's foot per 1,000 volts or something. I mean, something like
Shoot.
that. It's ridiculous. So, I've been
Well-
trained in the high voltage, stuff enough to. Sometimes it's a training to be awareness, and then the other stuff. I'm actually trained to handle up to 690 volts or 1,000 volts. So
It's not the voltage that bothers me.
The amperage.
It's right. You can get hit with 1,000 volts. 1
Been there, done that.
milliamp. It's that 1 milliamp. That's what's going to get you. It's not
Well,
the
apparently,
voltage.
that kind of to change the topic slightly. The tens unit I had with me is why I got caught. That's how we're going to segue. There was a video today, the armed attorneys talking about the TSA is now actually going to, if you are a known firearms owner or have been caught accidentally carrying a firearm or firearm components as your carry-on, they're now going to tag your tickets. So like me, I'm a TSA pre-check, but being that I've been caught accidentally carrying firearm components, it was a couple springs and a trigger set. They'll actually label your ticket so they know to give you the extra treatment while you're in the TSA check line.
Oh, that's not.
They're going to harass firearms owners just to make your life more miserable. I'm very well aware of that because I did get caught by accident. I'd flown to Houston from a remote airport somewhere else in the country, probably Wyoming or somewhere. Flown to Houston, spent my entire week off, didn't even check my computer bag, and went to go fly back out of Houston, check my bags, and lo and behold, they found that TENS unit in my carry-on. Well, TENS unit, the electronic components on their little scanner, X-ray machine, looks just like a stun gun, which you're not allowed to take a stun gun through security. So they're looking for this TENS unit, and they just decided to dump my bag out. and they found the TENS unit. I was like, yeah, I've been having problems with my back. Need to go see a chiropractor, but didn't have time or the money to go see a chiropractor. Well, is this a stun gun? I said, no, it's a TENS unit. Well, you're not allowed to have it. And then right about then, it was one other component. It was the most recognizable piece. It was all from a Ruger 1022. It was the actual bolt. So they're like, what is this? Well, I've been trying to take measurements and draw this into CAD software as a hobby. I was 3D printing some other stuff, but needed to take dimensions off of that stuff, and that's why it was in with my laptop, which was where I was doing my CAD drawings. Yeah, that went over like a fart in church. So I had to have my wife come back and pick this stuff up at the airport. And what's fun is they took both my computer bag and my carry-on, dumped it out all over their entire table, and said, "You have to go back, take this stuff, give it to somebody else, or throw it away." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I went to go take this bag. I already called my wife. Went to take this bag to meet her at the curb. Like, no, you need to take your bags. I was like, y'all dump that shit out. Y'all can stand there and stare at it for another 45 seconds and let me come right back. No, you got to go back through the line again. So you've already unpacked everything I have with me. Now I've got to pack it, put it back in a bag, and go back through your line again so I could potentially carry stuff back through your line again. When you already know everything's already laid out here on your counter, your nice, beautiful stainless steel countertop. You've already gone through it. I can take all the contraband, get rid of the contraband. You could see that everything's staying here because it's right there in front of your dumbass. No, I had to pack up all my crap. And so ever since then, they have a nice habit of taking every piece of luggage I have, no matter how carefully I pack it. If I fold every piece of stuff and just put it nice and neat in my suitcase, when I get it back from the airport security on the other end, it always has that nice little, "We have randomly selected your bag to be searched." And I've taken those and I've collected like 10 or 15 of them. And I write nice little love notes to the TSA. 100% is not random. Find a new hobby. Find somebody else to harass. I put all these little notes on, it's their tags. And it was like, I've flown 12 times in the last 2 years. Here's 12 tags with, "Please find a new hobby. 100% it's not random." All these nice little love notes I'm putting on there. And of course, they add their nice new fresh piece of paper to it's like, "Thanks for adding to my collection, dickheads." So, and they take and just dump my bags out, and I'm just doing an inventory when I get home going, I got most of my crap back.
I'll tell you what really gets me is I watched a video today on YouTube. Now, with what they're wanting to do, everybody knows if you want to go buy a firearm, you have to go to a dealer and buy it.
Yeah.
One of these FFLs. Well, now, with the way the law was written in and passed and got under the table, is that, beforehand, it was no problem if, you had, say, a certain firearm and your cousin or some relative wanted to buy it from you. There was no problem selling it to them. Now, if you want to do that, oh no, you have to go
to a dealer and transfer it.
You have to be a dealer and have an FFL license in order to do that. Otherwise, it's 10 years in prison and $250,000 fine.
They've been pushing for that since Obama 1 was in office. So, yeah.
No, this is when Potato Head just signed.
Yeah, well, like I said, Obama 1 was in office the first time they pushed for it. So, this is just Obama 2.0. They got a Potato Head. And can't put two sentences together. I've met people that are, could be 6 bottles in and still make more sense than this guy. So, on his good day.
You can understand Ozzy Osbourne better.
True. Facts. Oh, yeah. It's an embarrassment. It's a shame what we've gone to.
And that's when Ozzy's even drunk.
I was gonna say, Ozzy probably sounds better when he's drunk than when he's sober.
No, I'm
He's
just
so
saying,
perma-fried.
when Ozzy's drunk, have you ever heard him talk when he's drunk?
Or
It's
try
like,
to.
I tried to watch a few episodes of that show he had a couple years
Yeah.
ago.
You can actually understand him better than Potato Head.
Right? That's what we're saying. I mean,
Hey, at least Ozzy doesn't fall up the stairs going onto the airplane.
right?
And the weird thing about it is, something that they were talking about earlier is, how they're pushing for all these EV cars and stuff like that. I'm going, I'll get one when Air Force One goes EV.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
We're talking about going after
point.
gas generators now.
Oh, well, California.
They went on for gas stoves already.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, all that crap going on in California, that at the end of this year, you will not be able to buy a gas-powered outdoor equipment ever. Once this year is over with in California, you'll no longer be able to buy a gas-powered lawnmower, gas-powered generator, pressure washer, anything. You can't even buy a chainsaw that's going to be gas-powered.
Yeah, it's like my aunt. She went and bought one of those electric push mowers. I can't remember what it was, like Easy Go or some shit like that.
Ego.
Right, Ego.
Yeah,
That's
Ego.
the Ego.
Yeah.
That's a $5 one there.
Yeah, she had it for 2 years and the battery's toast.
Man.
Damn.
We got the chainsaw and then we got the weed eater. And we've had it for about 2 years and pretty good with those still.
Yeah. Now I've got the Cobalt one.
We cycle them just enough to where they get charged, but we don't I'm the one that's probably the most abusive to the batteries because I do use that chainsaw. It's easier to run that electric chainsaw than go put gas and start and have to do a tune-up and guilty. Well, I started with the
I've got the
Mater.
Cobalt.
I had the Cobalt 40 volt ones and I burned up 2 of the motors already.
I haven't burned mine up, but I mean, I've got the 24-volt push mower. I've got the 24-volt weed eater.
Yeah.
I've got the chainsaw.
Yeah.
And
they're all the 24 volt.
In 24 volt. Now I do have an 80-volt weed eater, the original brush.
Yeah.
And now I've also got an 80-volt push mower. I do have a problem with it. I haven't been able to get fixed yet. But then, of course, I just got through getting a Toro gas-powered lawnmower this past weekend. And after figuring out what's wrong with it, it's going out to scrapyard.
Yeah.
I think it's got a intake valve seat dropped on it.
Ooh.
Mm.
Yeah, the guy didn't know why it didn't want to start. It's like, okay. Hey, he was giving away for free.
Right.
I drove
right.
over there Saturday, picked it up, brought it back to the house, got it out Sunday, and I was doing the video and everything, and I was like, I'm trying to figure out why it didn't want to, start. I mean, it had spark, okay. He'd already gone through the carburetor, okay. He didn't have one of the return springs hooked up correctly. Actually, he didn't even have it hooked up at all.
Yeah.
And it was like a little bit too much on oil. Like, what the hell? It's like, well, I'm just wondering if the valves are out of adjustment. So I went and pulled the valve cover off. Oil poured all over the place.
Mm.
Oh, wow. Had way too much oil in it.
Way too much oil. And then come to find out there was almost 1/4 of an inch gap between the intake rocker arm and the valve.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
And the valve was stuck open.
Ah.
So the reason on that oil the way it was being too thin also, and that's because all your gas and everything going in the cylinder going right past the rings, right in the crank. And matter of fact, I just got through getting an email from somebody, and they go, yeah, if you've got that engine, don't even worry about wasting time fixing it. I didn't plan on. Only thing I plan on doing is taking it apart, taking that to the scrapyard, and it's like, here's steel, here's aluminum. And if I had,
Yep.
I'd go out there and find
They
them.
probably got paid more for the aluminum than for all the steel combined. Yeah.
Well, they pay more money for clean aluminum compared to dirty.
Oh yeah.
So if
Oh,
I get all the
okay.
steel separated,
I guess separated out.
Right.
I think Matthew did that years ago. He had a truck that had been, I guess, donated to him. It had been rolled several times, but I think they knew that the engine and transmission were still good. Had the aluminum A arms and stuff, and he took all that stuff and cut it out of there and hauled it in. I think he got what he paid for the truck out of the just the aluminum before he even took the engine and transmission out.
Yep. And it's just like, right now, one of the guys I watch, he does crushing and everything. And he actually had a video come out of an RV. And it's like, I'm going, man, don't crush it, because you could turn around and part that damn thing out and make about $2,000 or $3,000 off of it.
And then still crush what you can't get rid of.
Right. I mean,
any RV is going to have a furnace, a stove, and there's so much parts on the refrigerator that's user serviceable. Same with the furnace. You can buy those components that you do need, or some of the stuff that the circuit boards. They're pretty basic. They've been around for decades. You can buy those circuit boards, put it with this, and still keep things up and running. The fridge, I had a fridge go out years ago. Just replace the cooling unit. It's a third of the price of replacing the entire fridge. The toilets, the tanks, you could part the AC if it's still any good. You could part out an RV, get all the good parts out of it, part that stuff out, probably get what you paid for out of the thing if you get it cheap enough, and then still go scrap it. You know?
It still make money. I mean, like you said, the AC units, and sometimes RVs got 2 units up on top. And then
looking for a third one.
and don't forget the power supply and everything on them.
It's a ton of copper in those.
You got that converter and everything to convert everything from 110 down to 12 volt and everything. Plus, I mean, look at your stoves on them. Yeah. I think most of your RVs nowadays either have a 2 or 3 burner stove.
Mine's a 3.
Believe it or not, I've actually got one still. It's a 4 burner with an oven.
Wow. Mine has an oven too, but the oven parts, I need I forget what that called, that little thermocoupler.
Okay.
I got one from a hardware store that was just barely long enough for a normal stove.
Right.
It worked for a few weeks and then quit. And in the meanwhile, I found a air fryer microwave.
Yep.
I got around to fixing the stove. I think I actually did get around to ordering the part on Amazon, and the new thermocoupler sitting in the oven. And it's been there for 2.5 years.
How come you ain't got it put in there yet? Or actually, how come you haven't got it installed yet?
It's put in I'd have to take the whole thing apart a second time and clean it. And yeah, I've got other projects to work on. You know what though?
Enough.
You know what though, Mater? That could be sometimes those how-to videos do better than my car videos. So maybe you're convincing me. I'll clean it first.
See?
I'll take it all apart, clean it first, then get the cameras out.
See, I'm getting him motivated to get good content.
You're talking me into it. You're talking me into it. So then I'll put the part in there, and then I'll have, maybe a 5 or 15 minute video. I might just do it on a live stream. It takes an hour. It takes an hour. My best live stream so far was me installing the engine and transmission in that truck for the second test fitting.
Just make sure you got the propane turned off first.
Really? Take all the fun out of it.
Well, we don't want to see you. Yeah, we do want to see you blow up.
What I could probably do is turn the valves at the tanks off, light the stove, turn the valves at the tanks off, and then just watch. You know what? That's do like a time lapse.
Yeah.
Have one camera pointed at the tank when I turn the knob off, but they have one camera pointed at the flame. Do a split screen. So I light the flame, have the camera pointed at the flame, then go turn the valve off, and then let it burn out. It might take 30 seconds. It might take 2 minutes. I don't know.
It'd probably take about 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah, like I said, it might take seconds. It might take minutes.
Right. But parting an RV out. I mean, look at your the
kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, but your holding tanks. For knowing
somebody needs those, and they don't want to pay full price for new ones.
Right. For fresh, not only you got your freshwater tank, you've also got the gray and the black, plus your water pump and everything for them.
I need a new water pump for mine.
Right. So
mine froze and split.
And don't forget the water heater.
Yes. I've split 2 tanks on those.
Yeah.
Over the 3 campers. No, I take that back. I've split 3 tanks.
Oh, you would have loved me years ago.
I've split tanks in every one.
Oh, hell, I had a guy at a junkyard that was close by.
You're rusted, it wouldn't even freeze.
Every time they got an RV in, he'd call me up. He'd actually let me go out there and strip out what I wanted, put it in the back of my truck. I mean, I literally drive my truck right out there to the RV, load it all up, and I drive up to the front. He goes, "You find anything?" I go, and he'd look out in the back of the truck. He'd say, "You didn't find anything, did you?" I go, "Nope, I didn't." "Okay, have a nice day."
Oh my!
Because
next time you get a AC unit, I'll take it.
Oh yeah, well, I can probably start getting them. I mean, I get what this guy
unit, fridge, hot water heater. Yeah,
well,
I could probably spare. Have a spare hot water heater laying around as fast as they freeze and split. Mine's got a new shape to it since I've had it. This one I bought brand new is a 10-gallon tank. Now it holds 12.
I mean, like I said,
it had a nice breeze, and it kind of stretched the tank a little.
Well, like I said, I could talk to him and let him know that I got someone looking for stuff like that. And if he wants to make some side money on it, I can go out there and get it, dismantled.
Oh, yeah. Right.
No, being around or anything like that.
It's not like I won't be driving through that area again.
Oh, Mandy, I get a word in every once in a while. I'm just sitting here observing.
He's learning, Mandy.
He's being patient. He's just sitting there smoking his cigarette, enjoying life.
But yeah. Matter of fact, I'll send the guy a message right now.
Yeah, there's a guy over here near where I live. He's got a Winnebago sitting out beside his house. I've been trying to get it for a couple of years. It's the only reason I even want it. The thing's trash, but it's got a 413 Chrysler in it.
Oh, there you go. I've seen the Pinterest ones where they cut it and made it a car hauler.
Yeah.
I vaguely want one for that. But I'd probably prefer the school bus version.
Yeah, we have a bunch of them running around the eastern part of the state. They cut the bodies off about 2 rows back, and then they put a flatbed on it.
Just use what's there and make it a flatbed, or just put a flatbed,
Yeah, those farmers down there, they buy them things. They'll cut the bodies off, and you'll see them haul sweet potatoes on them.
There you go. Use them for something. We've seen one, I think they converted it to... It's a cross between a car hauler, or maybe they put like a competition food, like a food truck, or more of a barbecue thing in the back.
Yeah, I got stuck behind. Oh, I'm sorry.
Like a competition barbecue thing, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I seen one down there. He was actually hauling a Ford backhoe on it.
A backhoe on his bus.
Yeah, they cut the body off about right there behind the second row of seats, and they put a flatbed, put a ramp on the back and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But The bad problem is they got the buses here governed to 55 miles an hour, and then farmers never changed it. So there they are going down the road
They
55
don't give
miles
a
an hour
crap.
with
They're
pouring
farmers.
tobacco.
They don't give a crap. They got
No, not
the
one
bus
bit.
they got the bus at an auction, and they just convert it, and they don't. It's still probably faster than driving the tractor down the road.
I don't know. I think some of the tractors might be faster.
Some of the modern ones, maybe.
Yeah, those. Yeah, they still ran like old 80s model Chevrolet buses here till probably, I don't know, maybe 10 or
Good
15
night.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't get rid of anything until it's about done. And
Really done.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the old square hood Chevrolets. Yeah, they run them. They run the old square hood Internationals. You see some 90s model Fords. I mean, about every bus in the county used to be was like 30, 40 years old, and they just keep running the hell
It was
out
the
of
same
them.
bus you went to school in.
Yeah, they did. I think they retired mine like 10 years ago.
Hmm.
When it should have been retired about 40.
Yeah, I guess as long as it runs and stops, they don't care.
Right. Maybe their mechanics can service the older ones easier. Less emission stuff to deal with. All right.
Yeah,
No
they got.
computers.
They probably sold them because they couldn't get parts for them anymore.
Everything on it's been discontinued.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them Chevrolets, they had them little 8.2 liter Detroits in them, and I think they quit making them things in
Good
1990.
gracious. For emissions reasons. Yeah.
I know.
Oh,
I had
goodness.
someone give me, it was an old church bus, but it had the Chevy Straight Six in it.
Yeah,
And
Good
it's like,
gracious. Talk about
Yeah.
underpowered.
but I mean, the bus was given to me for free. So
Right?
yeah.
it was fun trying to get it running and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of the buses I ever see around here, especially the old ones. A lot of times they get the first thing that disappears on them is the front end. Somebody's got an old raggedy dump.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's got an old raggedy dump truck or log truck or something. They yank the front end off, and then it sits out in the wood for the rest of its life.
Yeah. Well, imagine if the engine's better than the one that's in their dump truck, they take that too. Probably the same engine and transmission if it fits under that same hood.
I don't know about everybody I ever knew that had one of those 8.2 liters. They usually just tried to junk them as quick as they could and put something else in it.
It's better as scrap iron, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the only thing them things were good for was blowing head gaskets.
Yeah. One of my favorite channels is the old DeBoss Garage up in Canada.
Yeah.
He takes the school buses, gets their Caterpillars or Detroits or the diesel engine out of them, and then tries to cram them into a pickup truck. And
he put that.
I admire that he takes his time. I mean, I've seen him take 2 to 3 years to put an engine and transmission into a truck, just one project.
Yeah, that OBS F350 he did where he put that 3126 in it. That was cool. It's a shame Ford didn't actually make that.
Right. The time I've seen him put into one where he actually took a dash and an interior from a newer Ford, made the dash functions and everything in a older body Ford, and even had it to where the switches on the door panels had it wired to where the switches you close the door and it knows which driver's in there and automatically adjusts the mirrors and stuff like the Ford that those seats and stuff came out of. I mean, he had those settings working in a different body completely. So, I mean, a lot of people shy away from those electronics and stuff like that in their projects, or they'll go get a kit to do, painless wiring or whatever, just a kit to do this, a kit to do that, the LS swap wiring harness. This guy will sit there and actually figure out the schematics and make a completely different harness fit a completely different body and still be putting a Caterpillar engine or something in it, and I admire his projects for that. And that's kind of where I see just minute similarities between what I've done in my channel. I'm taking an 8.1 Vortec motor and Allison transmission. I'm putting it in a square body Chevy truck. My biggest thing right now is the speedometer's not going to work because mine was cable driven off the cable output at the transmission. Now I have to find a speedometer, and I don't want to do the Dakota digital. I actually have a digital dash that came from a truck that had the 8.1 Allison in it, and I'm going to see if I can get that servo motor and put it on my. I might have to take the actual where that sweeps the speedometer itself, the display, and remount that into my dash. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But right now I actually have one that plugs into the OBD2 port, which is a serial port connection that I'll be able to just set it on my dash and know how fast I'm going.
Yeah.
Until I find the more permanent solution. Right now, the primary goal, finish fixing the firewall, which is rust, sheet metal replacement. Get that fixed, painted, and then get the engine and transmission in there. The next major thing have to before I could drive shaft. Got to get the drive shaft shortened about 10 to 11 inches. And so those are the main two things that have to happen. And then, I can, like I said, plug in that little thing and drive around, know how fast I'm going.
Now
but the goal is to get
dash,
a digital.
Right. Well, the dash you've got in there now, you say it's what, the old style with the cable coming up to it?
It's got a cable, and the Allison transmission is pure electronic now. It doesn't have an output shaft.
The speedometer output from an older one and hook up on there, and still be able to run the cable.
I don't know
if the housing. I was fixing. I don't know if the housing has a spot for that. I'll look.
It should. I mean, if the older Allison actually ran off of a cable, you should be able to take that, because all it is you've got the gear on the inside, and then you've got one. I mean, if it's just like a Chrysler transmission, that it's that outer housing that bolts in there that has your speedometer gear and everything. Then
I see where you're going with that.
Right, you should be able to get that housing that goes into the transmission.
One, I can actually inspect. The old square body Eric has a 79 square body C60. Okay. And his has the early Allison, which is purely mechanical or mechanical hydraulic, like the old school automatics were. And I know for a fact that his would have that speedometer output cable. And look at that housing and then go look at my housing and see if there's maybe a part where I could potentially swap a part of the housing if this housing doesn't have the output part. If there's a housing from another transmission I could buy from a salvage yard and still have that output capabilities. But there are, there's ways I could wire it up with a more modern speedometer. I'm just trying to do it with the junkyard parts, not with the aftermarket Dakota digital speedometer or VDO or whoever else makes a speedometer. That.
All right, well, I got to bounce out for a few minutes. I just got some information. Okay. I need to talk to somebody.
All right. Well,
I'll see about getting back here in a few minutes. But I got them about.
Well, I might be wrapping it up soon. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
if we're not here when you get back.
Yeah, like I said, this Sunday could be dealing with this weekend, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you having me in.
Thanks.
I'll see you.
Thanks, old Mater.
Yeah, there may be some kind of you might have to end up on Allison dealer. There might be something that
eBay.
Yeah, that transmission might have it's probably used for multiple applications. Some of them might be off-road too. There might be somebody out there that has that part.
Right. Like mine has the PTO, the housing has the on both sides has a PTO ports, and on those ports it's clearly stated no PTO provisions inside.
Huh.
So, if you had a transmission that had PTO provision parts, you could just take that port off the side and then bolt in your PTO components, whatever you're trying to drive. but on both of these, on that particular transmission says, no PTO. So,
Yeah.
and my
That
brother Matthew's kind of familiar with that because he's actually swapped out different PTO provisions on some those medium light duty trucks.
yeah. Yeah, I tell you what, Allison's are tough transmission, but they
Like I
the
said
big
in one of my live streams a while back, it's not made for drag racing, but it's going to tow my damn camper down the road.
oh yeah, if you
I
want to pull a
expect
house,
I
they're
fully
perfect.
I fully expect to pull this camper. That truck before with the small block in it, and this camper, when I rolled it on the scales, was 23,000 pounds. So
Shoot.
that's a lot of weight for a small block Chevy to pull around.
Yeah.
And it was a 4-speed Muncie with granny gear. I could take off in first and get to about third gear, but I could not get to fourth with the camper attached.
I had an
So
84 K20 one time, and it had the 4-speed with granny.
yeah,
And about every third time I drive it, the damn thing with the transmission would actually lock up, and I couldn't change gears. I'd actually have to pull off on the side of the road and cut the truck off, and then you would actually hear something go clunk, and then it start shifting.
Yeah. I know first gear is non-synchronized, so if your truck is rolling at all, you're not going back to first gear until you come to a complete stop. So
yeah, I bought that thing. The guy I bought it from, I think he said he had like 7 kids.
Oh goodness.
And he was behind on child support, so he had to sell it. I ended up buying it for like $2,000. It had 37s on
it. That may have been part of it too, but
I ended up selling that thing. I ended up trading it, and the guy I traded to, I think, what was it? He had nothing else better to do except work on that thing on the weekend. So he had it for 2 years, and I think he swapped 5 engines into it.
Good night. He was just going to the local junkyard and just get the best engine he could get.
Well, he just had a bunch of friends that had all this stuff laying around. It had a 350 in it when I sold it to him. Then he put a 327 in it. Then he took that out. Yeah, then he got a hold of a 400, put that in there. Then he got a hold of a 454.
Oh, just trade of the week club there. That's a lot of engine swaps. Matthew's saying they make PTO kits for most Allisons. Is that saying you could take and add the components to the internals, or I thought there had to be an internal drive to be able to drive the PTO? Some sort of gear or shaft, splines on the shaft or something, so to speak.
They probably got all that stuff in the kit.
I was wondering if you'd have to take the whole transmission apart to add those, or if it's something you could just couple into it.
I remember my dad was telling me he used to work for a grading company nearby, and they had a Terex scraper down there. Both front and rear engines got an Allison on it.
Yeah.
And
oh man.
the Allison on the rear went out, and the guy that worked in the shop down there had never taken one apart. So him and another guy started on it, and Dad said he walked in that afternoon and he said there was just this huge spiral of parts in the floor that just kept going around and around. They take one piece off at a time and set it down, then they take another piece and set it there, and it just kept going round and round until they had that thing
being
down.
Organized. Yeah. A lot of parts in an automatic transmission. I know that.
Yeah, everybody started coming in, and they were over there looking at it, and he told me, he said, "You assholes touch it, I'll kill you."
No shit. Yeah, see, that's what Matthew's saying, the counter shaft's already built in. See, that's what I was, in my mind, when they said no PTO, that, in my mind, that particular transmission didn't have the proper counter shaft, so you could even add the PTO stuff to it.
Did it come out of a bus?
Mine came out of a UPS truck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're building things probably cheap as they could.
It's a workhorse chassis. I think they just sell, GM assembles the chassis, and then they send it off to another coach builder that puts what you recognize as the UPS or FedEx style trucks. The gentleman that sold me this engine and transmission said that his buddy is actually one of the works for the company that dismantles them, and they are required to paint. Once they take everything out, they can dispose of the engines and certain parts. The tires, they make them drill a hole through the tires.
Yikes.
Certain parts they don't want the liability associated with them. But I think the engine and transmission disappeared because the owner of the company was probably trying to put it in one of his vehicles. But he got a couple too many, and it's like, well, I'll keep this one and sell that one. But they have to paint that body white before they take it into the scrapyard to sell it as scrap metal.
Yeah, I've never.
UPS is that particular that they're required that be repainted white before it's hauled off. Completely decaled first, decaled.
That's like up there at work. Every time we take a trailer out of service, they don't sell them. They send them straight to the scrapper. But by the time they get done with it, you probably wouldn't want to buy it anyway. They usually keep them. I was told 40 years.
Jesus, there's nothing left. Yeah, nothing left that way. Nothing left to recycle or use.
Well, they're still mostly intact. It's just the wall thickness starts thinning out on them, and plus all the years of being compressed and decompressed, and it's too much liability. And plus, on top of that, what is it? I think one of them self-loaders we use, I think a brand new one, something more like between like $140,000 and $160,000 each. Yeah. So they squeeze every dime that they possibly
can. They make sure they got their money out of it before they let it go.
And they usually do.
Yeah. I was watching one of the micro shows. Somebody's Got to Do It.
Yeah.
And the part of one of the interviews, they were talking to somebody that owned the barges that transport materials, say up and down, say, the Mississippi River. They said by the time they retire their barge, it has lost tonnage of material.
Yeah.
Due to erosion and friction, scrapes, bumps and scrapes, whether it be from the docks or from, the bottom of the river. And they get to the point where it's like the metal's too thin. We can't reuse it.
Yeah. It's probably paper thin by the time they get done.
And they've probably been patched dozens of times anyway. They're like, well, when we retire these, there's nothing left of them.
Yeah, place I used to work at before, we had one trailer they brought in. It had been hauling salt from Morton since it was brand new. And it was an 86 model. And at the time, I guess it was about 30 years old, something like that.
Goodness.
And there's a place down here that does sandblasting, and they had me take it down there one day because they were going to get it sandblasted and get it cleaned up and everything. And I went back down there like 3 days later, and it's like, there ain't much left of this damn thing. Yeah, it's aluminum tank, but it's got steel frame panels.
Okay.
And yeah, well, the older ones did, but
some steel structure to hold it.
Yeah, you see
stuff in place.
Yeah, there'd be pinholes probably about big around as a dime, maybe up to a quarter or something like that. Goodness. You didn't think, it's not that big. They got done sandblasting it. You could run a bowling ball through them.
Yep, nothing left.
Yeah, my boss called me when I was down there. He said, "You got that trailer?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What's it look like?" Terrible. He said, "What's terrible?" I said, "You'll see when I get back." I got back and he's like, "Oh my God."
Got more holes than a cattle trailer?
Yeah.
Than a bull hauler?
Yeah, that's it. It was. Yeah, they just went ahead and trashed it. They was like, there ain't no reason to keep this.
Yeah, all that as scrap metal.
Yeah, they pulled another one in. Yeah, I don't know where it'd been sitting, but it'd been sitting for years. It was a 67 model.
Man.
Yeah, the metal was so thin, it had hauled cement its whole life. And by the time we got it, it had a pinhole in the side of it. They decided, they're like, "Hey, can you weld that?" I said, "Sure, I'll try." I welded it, pressurized it, another hole opened up beside it. This kept going on for like a half an hour. I said, "Look," I said, "I'm welding paper. I said,
Right.
just best thing to do is get rid of this thing. I said, you do realize that Lyndon Johnson was president when this damn thing was built. I said, my uncle was 18 years old in Vietnam when this thing was brand new off the assembly line. And
Right.
they looked at me funny as hell, but all of a sudden, like 2 days later, the trailer disappeared.
Right. That just sometimes people don't get that it's like, yeah, it may have been built right at the time, but there's nothing left of it because of it served its time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's time to let it go.
Yeah. It's like a pair of old socks. Gotta let them go.
But hey, I gotta go.
Tidy whities. You know what?
Yeah.
It's time to call it. It's time.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good evening, everybody. Thank y'all for coming. If y'all get a chance, subscribe, share, subscribe to the other channels out here. And Aunt D just showed up. Yeah, lucky to get 15 years out of Great Dane Reefer trailer. And yeah, just thanks everybody for coming. And I'm sure that 6%'s got his is at 6% Eastern, which your Eastern there does nothing special, right? And
Yes.
so no, 7 Eastern was 6 for me. Sorry. So I'll probably catch a little bit of that when I'm getting off of work, and I'll jump in when I can because I would love being part of those conversations. So
I think wasn't Junkyard Necromancer doing his show first, then 6% was doing his.
that might be the case. Well, I think they might be doing combination show.
Yeah, that's right. They're doing that Epic Live or whatever.
Their Epic Lives, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get invited to their Epic Lives. But anyway, so if they let me jump in, I always jump in. But so does Mater.
Yeah.
But all right. Thank you all for coming, and we're going to go ahead and end the live stream.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.